Hey guys, welcome back. We are here to talk to you about our first camping destination. We chose Flagstaff KOA. We're about to tell you about it. Stay tuned. All right, so our first trip was just up the road. It took us about 2.5, 3 hours on an amazing drive. We went from elevation of about 1,500 feet here in Phoenix up to 7,000 feet up in Flagstaff, climbing with Ruby and Stella up the mountain pass there. And, in Phoenix, when you go up that high, you transition from seeing cactus into a beautiful pine forest.
So beautiful. It's worth the drive, absolutely. And I don't know how many people out there know, but Arizona has one of the largest forests in the world.
You're welcome.
I learned that from him, apparently. And it is truly forest. It's absolutely stunning. Pine trees as tall as you can imagine. When we arrived, check-in was pretty easy. There was construction on the road up to the campground, which did delay us a little bit, but we really just pulled right up to the front of the KOA. I jumped out and ran in. I did book it online, and then they did send me the confirmation via email, and then they also sent me a quick check-in, express check-in, I should say, email. And really all it did was confirm the card that I wanted to bill the rest of the reservation to. I was charged half up front and half when I arrived. You literally just run in, you have to wear a mask, and you just confirm your name and your dates, and they show you the map, where you're parked, gave you directions, told you what's closed, what's open, and sent you on your way. I think I was maybe gone for minutes. They did show me the store behind the checkout so that I would know it was there, and told me the hours, but I was back in the car in minutes, and you just pull forward. You don't have to park at all. So we headed up to our site. The road at the campground is very narrow, and because it's a KOA and everyone seems to be camping these days, it was packed. It was crowded. But we found our site really easy.
Mm-hmm. We're 17 feet, right? 21 feet bumper to tongue jack, plus Ruby, a 4Runner, relatively small compared to some of the trucks. So we were able to maneuver fairly easily through some of the turns in the roads. But some of our larger friends were struggling even to just drive on these roads. I'd say the Flagstaff KOA is, I would call it an older campground. It's been there for many, many years, 30 years at least, but it's really well maintained. The roads are well maintained, the sites are well maintained.
Yeah.
So we were able to find our site fairly easy. The roads were well marked, pulled right into a fairly level campsite. We only used one leveling block to get perfectly level. So I do think, that's not the case of all the sites. We did see some of the sites have to use a few more blocks to get level. And then the sites, they had really a wide variety of sites. I mean, we had a full hookup site, cable, 50 amp, 30 amp, sewage, water, kind of what we needed. But they had some sites that were less than ours and some sites that were really nice and larger than ours.
Yeah. The sites are gravel. The roads are paved, but the sites are gravel. It includes a picnic table, which was actually like brand new. Solid wood picnic table, beautiful, well maintained, very clean. The electrical was well maintained, ran great. You had a 50 amp and a 30 amp option. You also could plug into cable. The water line was really old. In fact, when we first turned on the water, it came out brown, right? Wasn't it brown? But then we used our water filter, and it came out. It was fine after that. We didn't drink that water, to be honest. We just took showers and washed dishes with it. That was easy. And then the bigger sites were really nice because they had a patio. and they had a gas grill, like a full-size gas grill like you'd have at your house, and patio furniture, which was really like a sweet bonus. So next time I go, I'm definitely going to reserve a spot with a patio, and it's really obvious on their site map which ones have the patios.
The other really nice thing about that site is it's not just an RV campground. So they have little, if you're familiar with KOA, they have the KOA cabins, these kind of wood cabins with some cots in them. They have the teepees there, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
And then they do have tent sites and a few group tent sites as well. So lots of variety there. It's the site itself, the campground itself is in a really good spot to explore Flagstaff. So NAU, the Lowell Observatory, there's lots to do there in Flagstaff. Old Town Flagstaff or Downtown Flagstaff is a lot of fun. There is a very active train line that runs through there. So occasionally you will hear freight trains coming through. They're kind of just across the main road, if you will, Route 66, which is also kind of cool. So you're right there. It's right in the heart of it.
Yeah, I didn't personally hear the train at all. I thought it was incredibly quiet at night. The rules for the campground is you have to have quiet from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., which was very well respected. I don't think we had any problems there. You are supposed to wear masks throughout the grounds, but no one enforced it, and no one really did wear masks. But what people did do is respect each other's space. So that was nice. I am a transplant nurse. I'm a little paranoid about getting my patients sick. So I felt really comfortable. The spaces, though, for the RVs are really pretty tight, so you're going to get really chummy with your neighbors. Luckily, everyone was incredibly welcoming, super nice, and very friendly, but they really did kind of keep to themselves, which was a bonus, too. But if you have a trailer that's anything over 30 feet, it's going to be really tight in there. We watched some guy with his 38-foot 6 slide-out toy hauler attached to his dual axle diesel, and they couldn't get out.
It literally took them an hour with half the campground trying to help them, moving boulders,
holding trees back.
If you have a really large rig, really study that camp map. Some people tell you to exaggerate the size of your trailer, right? When they ask you when you're in the reservation, if we have a 17-foot trailer, we don't really have a 17-foot trailer. We really have a 21-foot trailer. And then we really have, a 31-foot trailer because you have a tow vehicle, right? So really, don't be afraid to act like you have a bigger rig because you'll get a little bit bigger spot and it'll help you. 17B, we're probably not going to have a problem. But some of these larger folks or folks that were in a Class A trying to tow a vehicle, they really struggled to maneuver through some of these.
All the big ones
sites.
struggled.
Yeah.
All the big ones.
Campground, as we walked around, had lots of amenities that I thought were really nice. Their facilities, the restrooms, their showers were spotless, very well maintained. The grounds were well maintained. For as many people as were there was not a lot of garbage or garbage in the can area was picked up very frequently. They had a playground. They had 3-wheeled bikes that you can rent for $5 a half hour, I think, $8 an hour. They had a jump pad, like a bouncy pad that you could be on. Lots of people were raving about the camp kitchen. Jen's my camp kitchen, and she made an amazing pancake breakfast for us. But they do have a camp kitchen that does serve breakfast there for very reasonable prices, and it was well patronized. There was a lot of people there taking them up on that. Lots of areas with picnic tables to come to. And then only one point I want to make about the Flagstaff KOA is there's 2 Flagstaff KOAs that are called Flagstaff KOAs. One is a Flagstaff KOA that we stayed at, which is on the the east side of Flagstaff, right on Route 66. There's another Flagstaff Williams KOA that's down Highway 40 just a little bit and actually up north towards the Grand Canyon in Williams. So if you're trying to use a jumping off spot to get to the Grand Canyon, that would actually probably be a better point to do. It's also a newer campsite. as well.
didn't know that.
Maybe we'll hang out up there one weekend and give you a review.
Yeah, that
on
spot in the Williams campground would be really good to drop your trailer and take your vehicle and drive up to the Grand Canyon for the day. It'd be a great spot. The KOA campground that we stayed at also had a laundry room, and it did have a store. The store was minimally stocked. It wasn't really that useful. They had a lot of RV supplies. They had one cooler of drinks and one freezer full of ice cream. The only thing I forgot was a can opener and dish soap to wash dishes with. They didn't have any of that. What they did have was sewer hoses, drinking water hoses, a couple souvenirs, really not much. Paper plates, napkins, matches.
Don't rely on them.
Definitely not.
Luckily, we did run into the grocery store for dish soap and such, a few things that we did forget, and it's 5 minutes down the road. There's a gas station literally right across the road outside that has clearance for your rig and your tow vehicle.
Yep.
The campsite was about $60, I think.
Yep,
is what we
$60
said. $60 a night. So a little, some people say that's a little high. I've seen folks talk about they would like to be in that $20 to $30 range. It is a KOA. They probably tend to be a little more expensive on that range, but I thought it was a fairly good value, and really we got a lot of amenities from it, and we'd stay there again for sure.
There was no partiers, nothing like that.
Occasionally when we go to these campsites, we are gonna, if we hit up a good restaurant or something, we'll also share that. We did go to 2 restaurants. One we went to was the Sizzler. There's someday we'll tell you about the Sizzler, but it's a childhood restaurant love that Jen and I have, and they're going out of business slowly but surely, and so every time we see a Sizzler, we like to go to one. So we went to Sizzler. That was fine. The one I want to highlight was we went to a restaurant that's local to Flagstaff that all the locals go to. It's a Mexican restaurant called La Fonda. Has about 4.5 stars on Google with 1,500 reviews. It is a pretty solid Mexican food.
It was so good.
It was really good.
And really inexpensive.
And so we'd recommend it. It's about 2 blocks off the main strip, the main highway there. It's kind of hidden, so just Google it for directions.
Definitely not parking for your rig, so you'd have to
detach.
Drive your tow vehicle there.
And they have free sopapillas.
Michael loves food.
Yes, I do love food. Sopapillas, free. Well, not free. You have to order something. You can't get I'll just here for the free sopapillas. That probably wouldn't work. But getting some Mexican food and then eagerly anticipating your free sopapillas, that works. So
if you are traveling anywhere in the forests of Arizona, make sure you look ahead of time if fires are allowed at our campground. You are not allowed to use charcoal. And you are not allowed to use fire pits, including propane fire pits. So just look ahead, do your research. We have not had rain in about a year, so hopefully we'll get some monsoons this year and get some real rain and be able to have fires again. But other than that, it rained one night. There was not a mud problem. It was, I don't know. Would I stay there again? Yes, I would stay there again. Would I recommend it? I'd probably give it 3 stars out of 5. I think you'd give it something higher.
I probably would. Google gives it 4 stars. TripAdvisor gives it 3.5. I'm probably in that 4-star. I like KOAs because I know what I'm going to get, right? They're like the Marriott of campgrounds, right? I know what I can expect, so they're pretty solid versus an independent campground where maybe I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get. So that gives me a little bit of comfort. So I'd probably give it 4 stars.
Yeah, and I wish there was more space between the rigs,
Yeah.
and I wish there was some grass, and I wish we were able to have a fire, but I understand that part, but I don't know. And it was a little bit older, so other than that, I would still go with 3 stars. I would stay there again, but it wouldn't be my first pick.
Cool. All right. That's Flagstaff KOA. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe. It means a lot to us, and we'll keep it rolling.
Good night.